Good day, and welcome to the Budding Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Randy Rubens. In each episode, I cover my experiences, both good and bad, of being a business builder, as well as my journey through the crazy world of entrepreneurship to reach my goal of earning $10 million a year. All right, we are on episode 152 of the podcast. Today is Friday, June the 14th, 2024. A lot of good things happening as we roll through the month of June and start turning into the last half of the year. Here in Indiana, the days are nice and long. We're up dealing with sunlight very early until late at night. I think it was still not completely dark last night at 10 o'clock, which is awesome. But as we start turning after June the 20th, now we're going to start getting shorter and shorter days. So our year is going to twist for us. We're looking at today's agenda. We're going to be covering quotes from Jim Rohn and Ryan Kahn. Plus, we'll also be doing our business strategies on outsourcing and partnerships. Let's get started on our quotes. The first part of our quote is from Jim Rohn. He's a speaker and master salesperson. He said, "You can have everything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want out of life." And then Ryan Kahn, the founder of the Hired Group, said, "Master your strengths, outsource your weaknesses." And that's critical for our topics that we're going through this month. Now, for a special quote, I brought something from Taylor Welch that came from Facebook the other day. And he wrote something, it was sort of titled The Flex, F-L-E-X. He said, "Build a life you actually like. Reject cheap imitations. Ignore status. Cheer for those ahead and behind you. Don't hang on longer than you need to. Stop waiting for perfect. Talk to God and do what He says. Say what is right, even if it's costly. Master the little nuances. Forgive before they ask for it. Smile when it's painful. If at first you don't succeed, try 100,000 more times. Don't stop living until you die." The last statement that he made here is really a good point. One more day, one more moment, one more rep, one more try. That's the key to success, is always continuing. No matter how bad or how good things are, you still continue. When things are going well, you still continue. You continue if they're bad. You know, every business owner goes through a period of time when things don't work out for them. Sometimes you have things that are seemingly going well for you, and then you turn a season and things turn to the negative. So when that happens, you want to keep going. You want to do just one more. You never know what the last pickaxe will uncover as you make that stroke. Okay? So that's a great quote to go into our week with. I know it's a Friday, but as we're heading into our weekend, I should say. Moving into business strategies, let's talk about outsourcing and partnerships as a continuation from last week. Now, last week we covered what outsourcing is and some of its benefits. But how do you implement it effectively? Well, in my book, it all starts with selecting the right vendor. When you're choosing an outsourcing partner, there are a few critical factors you need to consider. Number one is reputation. You want a vendor with a solid track record, someone who's consistently delivered quality services to other clients. I do this when I'm using people that I've already either used in the past or they've come as a reference from someone I know. Now, obviously, you want to check some reviews, you want to ask for references, and you want to do your homework. You do not want to end up with a partner who can't meet your standards, and that's what it really comes down to, is your standards. The next thing you're looking for is, of course, expertise. Your outsourcing partner should have the specific skills and knowledge needed for the tasks you're delegating to them. If you're outsourcing IT support, for example, make sure the vendor specializes in that area and has a team of qualified professionals. This is where it becomes very important to look deeply into the credentials of each person and mapping something that is where they are to what your needs are. Pricing is another big one. It's tempting to go for the cheapest option, but remember that you often get what you pay for. Look for a vendor who offers a good balance of cost versus quality. And don't forget to consider the cultural fit. This is especially important if you're outsourcing to offshore. You want a partner who understands your business culture and can communicate effectively with your team. Now, looking at contract negotiation and management, this is the second step on this one. Once you've selected a vendor, it's time to hammer out the contract, or in many cases, simply an agreement. It's where you want to define your expectations, your deliverables, your timelines, and your payment terms. Obviously, be as detailed as possible. You don't want any surprises down the line. Make sure both parties are clear on what's expected and when. Now, managing the contract or the agreement is just as important. Regularly review the vendor's performance against the agreed upon metrics, the things that you agreed with them in the beginning to employ. And if there are any issues, address them promptly. A well-managed contract or agreement ensures that both parties are on the same page and helps maintain a positive working relationship. Nothing is a substitute for a good conversation at this point. Making sure that as you're talking with people, they understand that, the things that you're under and you understand the things that they're under. Everybody has different pressure points. Everybody has different areas that they have to focus on. And so by being aware of this, if you can manage your own expectations without having to worry about what they're doing. Now, communication and collaboration. Let's talk about that, because effective communication, as we were just discussing, is key to a successful outsourcing partnership. You want to set up regular meetings to discuss your progress, address any concerns, that's what we talked about, and ensure that everyone is aligned. Collaboration tools help to keep everyone in the loop and make it easy to share information and updates. One of the things that I regularly do with my vendors is I show them the same reports that I use. So they're aware of how I'm measuring things, and I want to see any reports that they're using. So I understand how they're measuring things. Sometimes things will change over time, and you want to be aware of that. Now, as part of building a strong relationship with your outsourcing partner, it takes effort. You want to show appreciation for their work, provide them with constructive feedback, and be open to their suggestions. They might have actually seen the problem you're encountering or dealt with it differently, and they can share that with you. And again, this is a partner here, right? We're really working with an outsourcing partner, and it's different from a partnership, but in that sense, they're both the same. And then a collaborative approach can lead to better results and more productive partnerships, especially in an outsourcing environment. Now, when we look specifically at partnerships, remember, this is another company and you are either working together or you're working with maybe an entity that everybody kind of recognizes no one owns, or it's a shared kind of an environment. And when you're looking at these types of strategic alliances, joint ventures, or co-branding agreements, the principles of successful partnership implementation are very similar. Let's look at the common ones. Obviously, the criteria is crucial. Look for complementary capabilities. Your partner should bring something to the table that you lack, and vice versa. Now, this next one might be overlooked, and I learned about this the hard way when I was early in my business training, and it's this. Your partner, like you, should be a leader in their field. Now, why is that important? If you have the opportunity to talk with somebody and do an introduction to a partner because maybe they're not an exact match to you, you want to make sure that your partner is that kind of a leader in the field so that when you make that reference, when you make that referral, what you're doing is telling the client, this is the best person I know to go to. And that's very important, okay? So make sure that they are a leader. Otherwise, you kind of look bad yourself, right? Shared values are also important. You want a partner whose business philosophy aligns with yours. It's very difficult to work with any kind of a partnership where somebody looks at things completely different from how you do. And of course, more of the strategic alignment. Your goals should be in sync so that both parties benefit from the partnership. Now, when we look at partnership agreement development, it's a little bit different from outsourcing. It's time to develop a partnership agreement when you are capable of clearly outlining roles, responsibilities, and expectations. And they should be able to do the same, right? Who's responsible for what? What are the goals of the partnership, and how will you both measure success? Answering this up front can prevent a lot of misunderstandings and many, many conflicts down the road. And finally, relationship management. Maintaining a strong partnership requires ongoing effort. Again, this is a long process. It's something we're going to have to do. There are going to be points of contention. There are going to be points of relaxation and agreement, and you have to be able to smoothly and fluidly move between those. Obviously, open communication is critical. You want to regularly check in with your partner to discuss progress, share updates, and address any issues. And this is very much like the outsource. You want them to see your reports, and you want to see their reports. We want to see how everybody is working collectively on the measuring points. And if they are out of alignment, you need to deal with that and handle it right up front. That was a key one for me early, is I ran into somebody whose measurements were actually the opposite of mine. They hadn't started that way, but they became that way because somebody got hired into a leadership role. I didn't know about that person right away. And so when they were coming to us and trying to do these reports, and I'm asking for them, I'm looking at this going, this is not anything that has anything to do with that. So we ended up letting them go. And I can't tell them necessarily who they can hire. We're working together in this environment. Obviously, you want to be transparent. You want to honor your commitments and treat your partner with respect. So we've covered the essentials of implementing outsourcing and partnerships, from selecting the right vendor and partner to managing our contracts and relationships. Now, when we're dealing with this, we want to keep in mind that outsourcing and partnerships are not static. They require continuous evaluation and adjustment. And occasionally, you have to break those partnerships. It happens. Usually one party has to buy the other party out. It can get pretty ugly if you're not doing things well. And if you've had some conflicts in the past, they'll just get exacerbated at that break point. But if you regularly review the performance and effectiveness of your outsourced functions and partnerships and make sure they're meeting your business goals, it becomes much easier to stay adaptable and be willing to make changes as needed to optimize these relationships. So that's going to be it for episode 152. I want to wish you the best in your health, your wealth, your business, your family, everything about you. Take care. We'll see you back next week with some great new examples of outsourcing and partnerships for your business and practice.